Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our dear sister. Strange things do happen in this world. So this is the narration of the message that she sent to me. The translation reads like this. Hello, my brother. How are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? I am a woman who is aged 40 years old. So me and my husband, we met here in South Africa. This was like a very long time ago. When I came here to South Africa, I had never been married before, but when I came here, I saw that the pressure to date, to have a boyfriend at all the times, it was just too much. If the men in the location where I was staying will know that you have dumped your previous boyfriend, then they will start to chase after you and they would be giving you a lot of money. I was tempted so many times to start to prostitute myself, but because of the way that I was brought up in a Christian family, I knew that once you start to do these things, then there won't be no coming back at all. And I just wanted one man for myself. But the problem that I was facing was that the guys that I would choose, the ones that my heart will choose, those guys, they were just poor. Most of them, they were like your regular gardeners and the ones that would go around doing some piece jobs, renovating people's homes. And they were not making, and those guys that I was dating, they were not making a lot of money. Usually they would sacrifice all the money that they would have gotten from the piece jobs, giving me that money. Then I would use that money, then the money that I was earning at the place where I was staying, at the place where I was working as a stay-in maid. That is the money that I would use to return back to Zim. So life was really tough with the way that I am beautiful. Even when I was on the bus, people would just come to me like your bus drivers and other guys, and they would ask me if I was married. When I would say that I am not married, then the guy will start to force himself on me. Then I met this other man. We were both traveling from Zim and we were on the same bus. Me and him, we shared like a connection. There was a chemical reaction that happened between me and him. And by the time that we arrived back here in South Africa, we were like in love, and it was as if we had known each other for a very long time. So this guy, he was working in Cape Town, and he said, since I have found you, there is no need for me to carry on and go to Cape Town. I am going to drop by your place just to see where you are staying. If I can get a job here in Joburg, then I am going to relocate from Cape Town. Then I'll start to stay in Joburg. That is how me and my husband started to stay together. So my husband there in Cape Town, he was working at this other hotel. So with the experience that he had, he started to go around Joburg, and within a couple of days, he came back and he told me that he had found a job at this other guest house, and life was now really like nice because we moved out of that location where we were staying. And his boss, since he had seen that my boyfriend at that time had so much experience, he did not want to lose my boyfriend. So he then told my boyfriend that it was far much better for him to bring me to that guest house, and we were staying like at the back of the guest house. There were a few rooms there, and that is when we started staying at that guest house. So whilst we were staying there, I also started working with my husband at that same guest house. Then one night there was this other man. This man, the reason as to why I started having a conversation with him, the man, he was also from Zim. So I asked him like a lot of questions. First of all, I saw him when he was driving into that guest house. He was driving a very beautiful car, but it had a yellow number plate. So after he had been booked in, I then asked him like a simple question, like, are you not scared to drive around South Africa with such a beautiful car when you have a yellow plate? Are you not afraid that you're going to be targeted and maybe you are going to get robbed? Then he laughed at me and he said that wherever he goes to, he goes around with his God in his car, and no one will even attempt to hijack him or to rob him. And he laughed and he just went to his room. The next morning again, we had a conversation, and because I was really interested, this man, he had said that he goes around with his God in his car. What kind of a God that he goes around with in his car? I just wanted to know. Since I was a Christian, I thought that this was an opportunity for me to tell him about the God of Israel. And when we had a conversation, he said, come, let's sit down so that we can have a discussion. So we started to debate, and he was like, no, our ancestors, they are really more powerful. You need to stop believing in this God of Israel of yours, for he will never offer you anything that is meaningful apart for the promise of you being given all the great wealth after you have died. So what is it going to matter to you when you will receive all of this wealth in paradise after you would have died? It is far much better for you to have money right now. That is what matters the most, because what if there is no paradise after all? So it is far much better for you to enjoy whilst you are still alive. And he told me about his God. So this man then told me that he was a Muslim, and his family, they also came from Malawi. And he told me that in their own religion there are some rituals that they do which helps them to create money out of thin air, like magically create money, even cutting up pieces of paper. Then those pieces of paper will be transformed, then they will become like your money. He then told me that this God is the one that made everything to be possible, and he asked me if I was willing to be given some of this magic money. So I took some of the money that he had, and he said, I want you to see the magic as it is happening. Whilst I was holding a 200 rand note, then I saw it being transformed, and it just became a plain piece of paper, those bond papers. It just became something like that. And I was really shocked because I had never had like a spiritual encounter in my life. This man then said, you see, this is how I make my money. He then pulled out this other small idol. It is really small. It can even fit in your pockets. Then he said, this is the God that I worship. And he told me the name of that God. And I then asked him if it was possible for me to introduce him to my husband, because this was like an opportunity of a lifetime. I rushed back to the room where me and my husband were staying. He was fast asleep because he was supposed to work on the night shift on that same day. And I then took him and I said, there is a man from Zim that I want you to meet. So we then went, and my husband had a conversation with that man. My husband returned and he said that he had spoken with that man, and this man, he was about to check out of that guest house, and he had asked him if he wanted to become part of this club. So I then asked my husband, what did he say? And he was still not sure. I then told my husband to quickly return so that he can accept this offer. When my husband had accepted the offer, the man then took a ring from his finger and gave it to my husband, and he said, with this ring I am going to be able to locate you whenever I want to locate you. As for me, I was told that I had to buy 2 bracelets. The first bracelet, I was supposed to go and throw it in a river. The other one, I had always to keep it on my right arm, always to wear it at all the times. This is how this man locates me and my husband whenever he wants us to do something for him. So this man then revealed his rituals to us. This was after we had been initiated into his occultic club. So what I started to do is that there are nights whereby I dress up as a prostitute. I can actually go and stand in the street with the other prostitutes, but my husband will be parked somewhere else. So all that I do is that I just wait when some of these girls will be picked up, like when they have a quickie. When they drop those condoms that they would have used, I'll quickly pick them up and then I will return with them back to the car. Then this man, whenever he would come, then we will give him all of those used condoms. So per night, at least if I can pick up at least about 10, then we were given this small cooler box, like a medical cooler box. We just place those condoms with the sperms and everything inside that cooler box, and by the time when this man will come, those sperms, you will see that they will still be okay. Then he takes them. I don't know where he takes them to, but as for me and my husband, we were then told that at least we were going to enjoy all of these riches for 6 good years. Then after 6 years, then a sacrifice was needed. So it has been 6 years now, my brother. So me and my husband, we spoke. My husband then said, if it is possible, you can try to sacrifice one amongst your relatives. Then the next 6 years, I am going to be the one that is going to sacrifice. So as for now, we have since brought one of my little sister. She is the one who is the last born in our family. She is the one who is going to be our sacrifice for these rituals. So my little sister, she was having some problems with her husband back home in Zim, and I then told her to come to South Africa as if I wanted to help her to get a job. When my little sister came to South Africa, she was shocked with the soft life that me and my husband are living. And I then told her that if she does not want to look for a job like now, there is no need. The reason as to why we are keeping her at our house, it is because we are still waiting for the month of the ritual. And when this month will arrive, that is when we are going to create an altar. But that man is going to come to assist us to create our altar, our first altar, where blood is supposed to be poured on top of that altar, and we are going to be using the blood of my little sister. And after she would have died, then we will take her blood and pour it on top of the altar. Then after 6 years, we are supposed to do the same ritual again. These are the rituals that me and my husband is supposed to do very soon. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our sister right there. So that was the narration of the message that she sent to me. Strange things do happen in this world.